My name's Joe Chambers of Skylab Bricks, and this is Launch Complex 39A as it appeared in May of 1973 when Skylab, or the Saturn V that launched the Skylab space station, was brought to the launch pad. Total, everything here is about 60,000 bricks. I designed and built this LUT probably about 3 years ago. All this stuff, by the way, you can get instructions for on my Etsy site, Skylab Bricks. Yeah, I don't know what else to say.
It's a fantastic layout here. What is the overall size of this? Do you know?
It's about 7 feet by 7 feet ish, give or take. Like I said, I was finishing pieces of this up until 2 days ago, so it's like I haven't been able to measure everything perfectly. So
let's start then. Take us through kind of the central section here, and then we'll kind of make our way out.
Okay. So this is called an LUT, a launch umbilical tower. If you can't tell, I'm really into the details. This is again a 1 to 110 scale reproduction of the actual launch umbilical tower that launched Skylab. There's about 9,600 pieces in just the LUT. There are a few LUT designs out there. Probably the most famous one is from Valerie Roche, who was part of the original Lego Ideas design for the Saturn V. I wanted to build that one, but my neurotic brain wouldn't let me just do that one, so I made an excessively detailed one. And like I said, I have instructions for that. I have individual instructions for each Apollo mission because the LUTs looked different for each mission. And Skylab is my favorite. So this right here is the crawler transporter. NASA is still using these. They've been recently refurbished for the SLS. They are affectionately known as Hans and Franz. So the launch vehicle will be assembled and put onto the launch umbilical tower inside the vehicle assembly building, and then driven out to the launch pad site and placed where it is for the launch. And then this all is the support equipment, a giant wad of concrete called Launch Complex 39A. There's an almost identical one a mile away called Launch Complex 39B. A lot of this was designed by my design partner and friend Sam Bradford of Zero Gravity Bricks. He is a poor college student, so you should go check out his stuff and support him because he wants to build this and more. So I just got to it before him, and I am not going to build it any bigger than this. If we were to build the whole planned thing, it would be about 20 feet long. So
you're going to call it here.
I'm calling it right here. 60,000 bricks is as much as my wife will let me get away with.
What's the structure underneath all these sections here?
It's pretty hollow. It's a lot of 2x2 brick pillars interconnected with 2x8 plates. So it's a grid pattern. This is all 2x whatever plates, usually doubled up, and then just support pillars underneath, and then it's all hooked together using Technic pins. And so it's modular, so I can take it apart and fit it in my Subaru. Some sections are a little more fragile than others, so you have to be a little more careful with it. Yeah, this has been a fun one. Kind of exhausting, but fun.
And then how about the red pieces you have here, that whole section? How strong does that stay together pretty well? Because it looks like there's a lot of hollowness inside there.
Yeah, so it can be pretty fragile. About a year and a half ago, I redid the design, so there's some Technic lift arms going up through the elevator shaft. So it's pretty stable. We had an earthquake here year and a half ago, and my LUT at home survived it, and we were living near the epicenter. So
that's how you knew you had done an okay job.
Yeah, exactly. And to test the crawler transporter, I put like 35-pound weights on it and just left it for a week, which is like, twice what it's supposed to handle. Yeah.
What do we have on this side over here then?
This side, it's just a lot more support equipment. If you want me to be really neurotic about it, I could point out, like what everything is. Like these are high pressure gases such as nitrogen and helium tanks under there. Those pipes going down that side are liquid and gaseous hydrogen for fuel for the Saturn V, kerosene, RP1, and nitrogen. And then you've just got all these, connection points where the tower hooks up to ground service equipment to service the Saturn V. And all those swing arms, they don't start moving until the launch vehicle actually starts moving, and then they swing away. It's just an incredible piece of engineering that unfortunately was canceled a long time ago.
Now, you clearly have done a lot of research and have a deep knowledge base here. So where does that kind of interest come from? Is that related to what you do for your job at all, or?
I'm an electrical engineer. So yeah, being detail oriented is, I wouldn't say it's a hobby, it's a compulsion.
You can't help it.
The voices. I couldn't stop with just the kit. I had to make it Skylab, Yeah, so, and because it's, it's public domain, and it's history, and you can find lots of documents, lots of pictures. So, I mean, I'm kind of a weird Lego fan in that I am not necessarily a Lego fan. It's just Lego is what I have chosen to make models. And I try to be as accurate as possible as Lego will let me. Design within constraint is a good way of putting it. But yeah, I try to make it as detailed as possible. I also pride myself, especially on the LUT, of not showing any studs. You can find them, but I put tiles everywhere. So
that's fantastic. And it's great work here. Now let's stop real quick, and then we'll go around to the front and get a different view of this and some of the other stuff you brought here.
Yeah. So this is the back side of the LUT. I hate to say it, but it's you can't see the rocket as well, but it's also kind of the neater looking side of it. This is funny. People ask about this, like, what is that thing right there? That's actually an escape slide. So there was a high-speed elevator that would, like, if there was anything wrong, like, oh, we got to get the heck out of here. This small tactical nuke we're on is going to explode. There was a high-speed elevator that would take them all the way to the bottom, and they would literally slide down that into a bunker underneath the pad. So yeah, I mean they had several different escape methods, but that was probably the funner one. I don't know.
It sounds fun.
Yeah, there was also a zip line that went from there to like a mile away, but
you had options.
You had options. This, a lot of people ask about this. This is the blast deflector. So they would roll this under, so when the rocket fired, the blast would be deflected either way. Yeah.
So that's kind of the main display that you brought here. This little one right here. But then you also got some more stuff. So let's take a look at some of the other things you have on display.
Okay, so this is my 1:73 scale Skylab. So Skylab would have been, that much of the Saturn V, but that's 1:110 scale. I'm kind of a fan of Skylab, if you can't tell. It was America's first space station. They literally took the upper stage of a Saturn V and made a space station out of it. It's one of those just little pieces of American space history that kind of gets forgotten, and I really like it. I've named my little brand after it, so Skylab Bricks. And 3 crews took Saturn 1Bs up to the space station and really advanced our knowledge about space. Really early on in the space program. I hate to say something like this, but we might have learned more from Skylab than we did from the entire Apollo program. but I might get beat up for saying something like that, you know, from some real rocket nerds.
We'll keep moving down that.
Okay. So this was kind of a interesting project. NASA did a lot of research into things that they wanted to do, never got around to doing it. So this is called the NERVA Mars mission. NERVA stands for Nuclear Engine for Rocket Vehicle Applications. So this is a NERVA engine right there. This is a nuclear reactor that they would just shove liquid hydrogen through, superheat it into a plasma, and use that as exhaust. It's twice as efficient as a chemical rocket. And so Boeing did a study called the IMIS study and designed a Mars mission in the late 60s. They did all the math. Some things were incorrect about it, which we would later find out, but I made a Lego model of the IMIS NERVA Mars mission, and part of that was they needed a launch vehicle to put a fully fueled NERVA booster stage into orbit. And so they did things like, let's make the Saturn V bigger and put liquid boosters on it. So I also did a series, I did about 7, all the instructions, 7 different types of MLVs, or modified launch vehicles, all based on studies that like Boeing or Lockheed or NASA themselves did. So if you look at your Saturn V Lego kit and say, it's just not big enough, I've got a few options for you. Stop on by Skylab Bricks on Etsy. I've got a few options. Anyway, so this is the 1:110 scale NERVA Mars mission. Comes with, you know, the lander.
Your own little slice of Mars.
My own little slice of Mars. Yep.
These are both theoretical models then.
They did the math. It looked like it was going to work. They just didn't get the money.
No, that's so interesting, because that is a whole nother, you know, you've got obviously the real life models a lot of people build off of, but then those theoretical ones, I'm sure, informed a lot of the decisions that were made as well.
They were NASA was doing a study in the late 90s where they were going to resurrect the NERVA engine to go to Mars. It's a good idea. It's a robust idea, and here I am nerding out about science instead of Lego.
You know, there's a lot of overlap with the fandoms.
Yeah. You'd be surprised how many engineers and just all that you meet in the Lego world. People buy instructions for my LUT and they're like, "Oh yeah, I'm a mechanical engineer," and I'm like, "You don't say, really? Huh?"
But these models are all super impressive here. So what plan do you plan to continue to build kind of within this theme in the future then?
I don't think I can convince my brain to do otherwise. So
no, like castles or pirates or anything.
Do what now? No. No. This is. I'm having so much fun with this. Like when I did, you know, this is based on something that's real, but it is very sci-fi, and it's just fun to do stuff like that. I might after this, I might take a break for a couple months and just calm down, maybe buy a set and build a set before I do anything else. But yeah, I'm having lots of fun with it. So
cool. No, you're doing a great job, and it's great that you're so passionate about this, because I think you can see that carry over into your work as well. So I'm excited to see what you tackle in the future. Thank you.